Hello and welcome to CarVup by Core Design. In CarVup, you play as a car. This little car you see here, who has tasked himself with cleansing Cartoonland because some baddie has made it a bad place, and only by removing the badness of the different levels can Carl make it good again. That is indicated by the platforms. You can see they have dark dots, and as Carl drives over them, they will change color. Depending on the level, the appearance will be different. The game, when I played this game many years ago, I knew I'd seen this game before. I couldn't pinpoint it, but I knew I'd seen this game before. Maybe not the game as it is in this version, but I've definitely seen gameplay very, very similar to it. And there is a Jaleco game from 1985, arcade original, called City Connections, which is where I would say the foundation of the gameplay is very, very similar to this. This is just hyper cutesized, so to speak. And while in essence a different game, it has a lot of similarities. In City Connection, you play the car, but your enemies are other cars. In this game, you play a car, but your enemies are anything from tractors to ghosts and zombies and all sorts of other goodies. You have three, we try again, we have three, I think it's called, types of jumps available. You can do a high jump, which is useful for jumping to platforms above you. You have a low jump, which is good for jumping down, surprise, surprise, and then you have a normal jump, which is good for jumping straight ahead. You have various different enemies that will just run around willy-nilly, and if you bump into any of those, you lose a life. The different items that fall down from time to time you can pick up in order to get weapons of some sort. The oil can will give you some exhaust smoke where you can blind one enemy or disable one enemy, I would rather say. You can get the fender, which will make you temporarily invulnerable, and other enemy disablers. When you start the game, you have the option to let it be automatic or manual. If it's manual, you need to press the spacebar in order to activate the weapon type. I just find it easier to let it run automatic, because in that way the computer will just activate whatever you have when it's appropriate to do so, usually when an enemy is nearby. There are various different bonuses you can pick up, items, letters. Bonus letters will spell bonus, giving you a bonus. There's a surprise. And extra letters will spell extra, which will give you an extra life. Hardly a surprise there either. Once you've done 5 rows, you get to a bonus level, or 5 levels, you get to a bonus level, and then you move on to the next world. In this case, Spooky Town. Graveyard Town, whatever town, something undead filled. And as you can see, the change in platforms, they are covered in an unpleasant substance, and by driving over it, Carl will cleanse it. You only got so much time to spend on each level before Turbo will be called out, which basically makes every enemy faster, and you'll have this demon bat thing that will chase you. It will not necessarily chase you directly, it will half sort of circle you, eventually making absolutely sure that you bump into it. So the key to getting good at this game, speaking of, is to basically plan every single screen so you know how to get to change the different platforms as efficiently as you possibly can. Considering this game has 8 full worlds you have to navigate, it is quite a bit of a challenge. There's something surprisingly simplistic about this game. It is basically an advanced form of Pac-Man if you want to break it down at its absolute core. Ha, ha, pun intended. But it is actually rather challenging, annoying, frustrating. Most of the enemies you can see well in advance, but there's definitely a certain type of enemy, certain situations where you jump and think that's perfectly safe, and then because you're shifting the screen as you're jumping, an enemy comes on screen that you didn't have any knowledge of, and then suddenly you hit that enemy. Some of them, I have to admit, seems to fall in with the background, making them surprisingly hard to see. But by and large, the game doesn't necessarily tease you. Most enemies you can see ahead of time, and while it does love to box you in and trap you that way, if you pay attention, you should be able to navigate most enemies successfully. From a graphical point of view, this is a very, very cutesy looking game. It is probably unbearably so for certain people. I would say the graphics quality doesn't necessarily have any shortcomings. It's perhaps more the style that some people will definitely be put off by. The sound, there's no music in game, but the sound design, I find it somewhat enjoyable. I also find that it sounds extremely hollow. I'm not necessarily particularly major fan of that aspect. The coolest sound is definitely when you collide with something at a highly placed platform, so you do multiple bounces on the way out of the screen. It's a bit unfortunate when the sound you find most enjoyable is a sound you don't want to hear. The controls even are fine. The problem is Carl, it is made as a joke of in the manual that Carl's been watching Vertigo, the famous Hitchcock film, and ever since watching that, he has been afraid of heights, which means that he doesn't want to reach the edge of the platform. He will turn in the opposite direction. Meaning that if you need to do a jump from one platform to another, you need to jump before you hit the edge of the platform, or he will turn around, and you will sometimes find that you jumped the wrong way, or you will find that he just turns around, ignoring your jump, which can make the game unnecessarily challenging, outright frustrating. I can't see beating this game being something that is easily done. Personally, I find it enjoyable in small bursts. It's not something I can play for hours on end. It would frustrate the heck out of me. But in my opinion, the game is definitely not bad at all. Possibly not the best Amiga game ever made, but I enjoyed it for what it was. On that note, thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye bye.